Okay, I'm going to try to replace a dead battery on a Game Boy game here. It's Sword of Hope 2. I'm going to be replacing the dead battery with a battery holder so I can swap them out easily without having to do dangerous and awkward soldering like this again. As you can see, right there is the battery. It's held on by solder on either side. So the first step is going to be removing that. I'm going to be using something called a soldering wick to kind of suck up that. Feels like the iron might be hot enough. We'll see. Still needs to get a little hotter. In the meantime, this is the battery holder I'm going to be using. It's hard to find a battery holder that's actually short enough to fit inside of a Game Boy cartridge, so I ended up purchasing that from AliExpress from a Chinese seller. For some reason, American companies do not sell those. Okay, I can feel soldering iron is pretty hot now, so I'm going to try this again. I do have shaky hands, so this is not easy, but let's see what we can do. I probably should have bought a bigger soldering wick, but at the time I was even more naive about this than I am now. Ah, there we go. Trying not to damage the circuit board here, since this is a pretty rare game. I don't think many people played it, so it'd be hard to find a replacement. Okay. Right now I'm not sure if the wick here is just too small to be pulling much, or if I need to be a little more patient in getting this heated up. Before you judge too harshly, this is the first time I've actually used one of these or replaced the Game Boy battery. Okay, finally getting some results. Kind of seems like nothing's happening until finally hit the right temperature for the solder to melt here, and then it just all goes at once. might have bought a wick that's too fine. So, plan B, I'm just going to solder this off directly, and I'm going to try one more thing before that. Another untested thing, so have a laugh about this. This is called a solder sucker, and the idea is this just sucks up the solder while it is melted. So I'm going to see if I can get this working. Oh. I think that actually worked. I know, I shouldn't sound so surprised. Okay, get the other side here. Try that again. There's, like I said before, there's a lot of solder at either end of the battery here, so didn't get it all in one go. Okay. All right, take a break for a second here. It might be hard to see, but the solder on either end has kind of been removed, so you can now see the tabs on either end of the battery. I'm guessing I won't be able to pull it off just as is, but with a little loosening, shouldn't take much to pull this off now. There we go. There's one end. Oh, yeah, almost. Okay, it's off. So there you go. No battery. Now the next part of the plan here is to put this where that was. And I want to make sure I have positive and negative terminals in the right spots. That would be bad if I mixed them up. Okay, so the way I'm figuring this out here, the battery has a plus on the top, so the bottom, it's kind of got a inner circle and an outer circle, which is the top. So the top's positive, the bottom's negative. And on here, on the battery holder, there's a bottom set of prongs, and then the top, which connect to the top and bottom, the positive and negative. So I'm going to want to put it down like this. I'm just checking real quick that it will actually fit on. And I think I can make it work. So I'm going to, I think I'm actually going to try to get off just a little more of the solder on the negative terminal. Oh, that's fun. That's some of the sucked out solder from before. Repeat one more time. I've never done this before with a solder sucker and a Game Boy cartridge, so bear with me. There we go. Even when you know it's coming, it's a bit of a shock to have that solder sucker pop like that. Okay. Positioning this exactly where I want it to be. Got a little bit of residual solder on the bottom, making it a little harder to line things up. Okay, I'm going to call that good. So I've got solder here. And I'm going to straighten this out. Heat up the area. Oh man, it shakes. Make sure this is lined up. If it's not on contacts here, it's not going to conduct electricity. To the SRAM, the saving chip. And this will have been pointless. Oh, let's heat it up here. Oh, got a little there. I'm going to readjust. We're all learning together. Okay. And some residual solder on the tip there already. Try not to breathe in the poisonous fumes. And go back to the other side, get a little more on here. Okay. I'm not going to put a bunch on here. Just enough to hold it on and complete the contacts there. I think I've got it. So there it is with the battery holder installed. And you pop in the battery, and I'm actually going to wait just a little while to make sure the board isn't too hot. Unplug soldering iron so I don't burn the place down. There we go. And as I wait for it to cool down a bit more, I'm also going to pull out a multimeter here. Test that the voltage actually comes across properly. Since if I screwed up now, there's no point in getting to the testing phase with an actual Game Boy. Got the multimeter. We got positive, negative terminals, and we have 3 volts. Yeah, everything's coming across properly. So, assuming I didn't fry any of the chips with the heat from the soldering iron, we will have a working game. Doesn't feel too hot. Slide it back in the casing. Got the security bit here. Try that again. Okay. There we go. Last step. Pop this in a Game Boy, make sure, one, that it turns on, and then 2, that it holds a save. Okay. Now you can see all the files were white below, white before, because the battery was dead. Get through the introduction here. See, this is basically a Dragon Quest style game. Kind of a slow pace for modern sensibilities, but I'm an old man, so it's okay. Trying to remember how to save on this. Okay. Power off. Make sure the power is completely off, so we're testing that the battery is actually holding it. Okay, moment of truth. This game makes you wait for their fancy graphics to display. All right, there you go, level 1. Continue. So it worked. Shouldn't be so surprised. One of these days I'll do a proper soldering tutorial once I'm more of an expert, but for now, It's possible, even I can do it.